Very good morning to all of you who are present here in spite of post Sonu Sona, which was very short for you all. So I welcome you all here. And today we are going to talk on little more advanced conditions. I think Dr. Pandey has given an overview of the conditions which we are having. I would like to thank him for inviting me to talk on the DRS cases, the Duane's retraction syndrome, and how we can improve the outcome in such cases. They can be, first to see the clinical picture that we mostly encounter. Most commonly it is the ESO-DRS. What you will see usually is that the eye is in the esotropia in such cases, and abduction limitation is there, and on attempted adduction, there is a retraction. You can see that there is a palpebral aperture narrowing, and there is an upshoot and a downshoot. So these are the classical features that we will see in cases of DRS. Sometimes there may be a picture of exo, and what you see in exo-DRS is the exotropia in the primary position, abduction limitation in the involved right eye here, and on attempted adduction what you see classically the retraction again, the upshoot, downshoot, and these are such severe sometimes that the eye almost disappears. So these are the intriguing cases that we need to see. Recently we have been doing the high definition MRIs, and we have seen that there are missing 6 nerves in cases of Duane's retraction syndrome, and that may be the reason that congenitally this goes into a disinnervation problem. So these are probably the most common types of the congenital cranial disinnervation disorders, the CCDDs. And what we have known classically is that this is a problem of innervation in cases that the 6th nerve hypoplasia of the nucleus or the nerve is there, so that the 3rd nerve is supplying both the MR and the lateral rectus. This is the type 1. In type 2, there may be some abduction possible because the 6th nerve is still supplying the lateral rectus, but in spite of that, there is a disinnervation, which is secondary disinnervation, and so there is an aberrant regeneration of by the 3rd nerve. And sometimes there can be both the 6th nerve and the 3rd nerve both supplying and causing a type 3 type of presentation. What you see, the paradoxic innervation that you need to understand is that in such cases of DRS, now this is the left exo-DRS, exotropia in the primary position. In the primary position, the lateral rectus has got a 1 plus innervation, that is less than normal. The medial rectus is plus minus, let's say it's normal, so there is an exotropia. On attempted abduction, what happens is that the lateral rectus is not receiving its innervation, there is a 1 minus, so there is a limitation of abduction. And the medial rectus normally, as the Sherrington's law says, that it should have an inhibition of the opposite muscle. It does so, and so there is a globe protrusion. You'll see that the globe actually propels out rather than the abduction being happening. And on the other hand, on attempted adduction, you'll find there is a retraction because both the LR and the MR are firing. And so this causes a retraction. This causes also an upshoot because of the slippage of the globe on the tight horizontal recti. So this is the basic understanding that you should have. And another important thing that we have to remember in DRS cases is classically described Romero-Apis force degeneration test. And what is seen in these is that when the eye is adducting and you hold the globe, then you will feel that the tug is there because in adduction there is a co-contraction. As you all know now that in DRS there will be co-contraction in attempted adduction, but the moment the person is asked to abduct the eye, there will be a sort of give away of the lateral rectus because lateral rectus is not firing during abduction, and so you will feel that the giveaway is there, and so the eye actually adducts during abduction. So this is a classical test which will be very typical of Duane's retraction syndrome. These are cases of 1 to 4% of the pool of strabismic patients, about 0.1% of general population. Female preponderance is there, mostly the left eye is involved. 71% of the DRS may have hyperopia associated with it. And this is the reason mostly they may go into a amblyopia. Otherwise, DRS cases classically will have a binocular single vision because in some phases they may have the BSV present. If they don't have any BSV at all, then they may be having amblyopia because of strabismus. The incidence of amblyopia in DRS cases is about 3 to 25%. That's a more common type is the ESO-Duane, 78%. Less common is the exo-Duane's or 7 or 8%. And sometimes there will be ortho-Duane, which will be much more difficult to handle. How do we manage these cases? Correct the refractive error first of all, and correct the amblyopia which may be associated because of that. Otherwise, they have an abnormal head posture which is giving them a alignment. And what we need to achieve is reduce the co-contraction, obtain the balanced alignment in the primary position, obtain concomitant rotation as much as possible so that we can increase the binocular single vision fields. And if nothing else, at least accomplish good cosmesis. So this will be our goal in cases of management of DRS. There is a very nice chapter by Dr. Jampolsky in Rosenbaum and Santiago's book, which I would recommend that if you want to really go into the depth of understanding of Duane's retraction syndrome, you can read that chapter. It's a little more difficult to understand, but it is really comprehensive. And he lists the factors that we need to consider in managing, but we'll just consider them in short for our clinical management. One is, what is the type of deviation which is there, ESO, EXO or ortho? Secondly, is there a significant co-contraction which will be elicited by upshoot and downshoots? Is there any passive or force reduction test positive or negative intraoperatively? So these are at least the three minimum things that you will need to identify when you are managing a case of DRS. And the ideal solution would be isolate the paradoxically innervating lateral rectus. The mischievous muscle here is not the MR. It is only the lateral rectus, whether it's type 1, type 2 or type 3. It is the lateral rectus which is not working at its own time and does not let the MR to work when the time of MR is to work. So it is like a mischievous person who is sharing your room and doesn't let you study and doesn't study himself. So correct the deviation in primary position, partial VRT to improve the abduction, may be the final thing that we can improve the abduction by. So how do we manage ESO-DRS cases? MR recession, if done alone in a case with significant co-contraction, can cause an exosplit or synergistic divergence. So always beware of this. Don't be very happy to recess it too much. Do the minimal MR recession required as per the FDT, which is tight in many of these cases. But you have to do the minimal MR that is required. LR recession with Y split should be added if there is a significant co-contraction even in ESO-DRS cases. So even though it's an ESO, you may like to do an LR weakening, but combined with a Y split in order to correct the co-contraction by recession, and the splitting of the Y slit will cause the prevention of upshoot and downshoot. It's like yoking the muscle. Disinsert the LR and periosteal fixation are the other possibilities. Superior and inferior rector vessels sparing or partial transposition are the other things which may be considered. Now this schematic cartoon diagram by Jampolsky has shown why there is a slippage. You'll see that it was the co-contraction which is causing the slippage against the tight muscles. And this is what is done by the Y splitting of the LR. And so in ESO-DRS, now this case which we had shown you earlier, and after the Y split and the left MR recession, and with the Y split LR recession, you find that the eyes are corrected in the ESO position. The upshoots and downshoots have reduced very significantly, and the downshoot is almost corrected. There is an upshoot slightly, but in primary position and all, the retraction is corrected, so he's pretty good. So in ESO-DRS, a little MR recession may be too much, so be aware of this. And sometimes if you do little more, like 0.5 more than what we thought would be required, and that causes next day, this is the synergistic divergence that we'll get. And so we have to do an LR recession again and correct it. What is the strategy in the EXO-DRS cases? Here the Y splitting with LR recession may be alone, that may suffice in some cases. Large 12 to 18 mm LR recession may be required, or the periosteal fixation of the LR, or the extirpation of the LR. So these are the described thing in the literature that you will find. This is a case in which you would see here supramaximal 18 mm LR recession was done in the right eye. And what you see here in the right eye, in spite of this, there is a retraction and adduction limitation is there. And so we went ahead and did the LR periosteal fixation in the left eye, and you'll find the left eye is behaving much better than the right eye. So this is what to my mind, the best solution for an EXO-DRS cases. And you can add a PVRT to this to help you in improving the abduction. We may not go into the videos of these at this moment. We can talk about in the instruction course later on that I have at 11:30. But pre and post, you'll find that will be a significant improvement. And this is just to show an improvement in abduction that can happen after the, now you see the right eye, the abduction is improved significantly. So I would like to share this information that you can improve the abduction in these cases by doing a thing. So what do we need to achieve? In EXO-DRS cases, you can achieve the improvement in the deviations, the head posture is corrected because primary position is corrected. The abduction may not be improved much unless you do a PVRT, and the adduction definitely improves in EXO-DRS cases, which helps in improving the binocular single vision fields. In the ESO-DRS cases, the esotropia will be corrected very nicely, and you can achieve the primary position as well as an adduction, and abduction again remains a limitation, and this we can only achieve by doing a PVRT later on. So I would like to stop short here, and details we may have more discussion in the evening, in the afternoon IC. Thank you very much.